Well, hey there, and welcome to Wedding Planning Simplified. I'm Amy from Unmistakably You. I am a wedding planner and educator here in London, Ontario, and I am so happy to be with you on a Monday. I usually do our Facebook Lives on Sundays, and I did have every intention of doing that yesterday. However, we were in the truck on the way up to visit my family, and we were in the middle of nowhere with sketchy internet, and it was pouring rain so hard that there was no way you would have heard me had I tried to speak. So I am thankful to you for joining me today instead. I hope you've had a wonderful Labor Day. I am very hopeful that you've had some time to maybe rest, relax, rejuvenate. If you are starting back to school, maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're a student, best wishes with that. If you've got kiddos who are heading back, I'm sure you're doing a little bit of a happy dance right now. So, in any case, September is kind of a transitional time for a lot of people. People are heading back to school, maybe getting a little bit more used to shorter days as we are seeing the sun set earlier and rise later. And there are just a lot of things that tend to be changing. We're heading up into an equinox. And so this may be kind of a tough time for you. So, if you are a newly married couple, you may be experiencing some challenges. If you are getting ready in 2023, you may be finding that it's hard to keep momentum. And so we decided to focus this September on self care because it's something that I am certainly very guilty of putting by the wayside. And I hope that you are not. I hope that you are a master of meditation and that you are active and healthy and you always eat right and you always drink enough water. But let's be honest, it's hard to do. So today I just wanted to pop in and kind of introduce our self care September theme. We're very excited. We've got some very fun things coming up, including a guest hosted moving meditation on the 25th. We're going to connect with Nicole from Luna Life and talk a little bit about skincare. And it's going to be an exciting month. So I wanted to kind of just pop in today and talk about three concrete things that you can do to plan your marriage, not your wedding. Generally, it's estimated that people spend about 250 to 500 hours planning their wedding, which is one day when you boil it down. Of course, I don't want to diminish the importance of your wedding day by any stretch. It is so meaningful and emotional, and you are completely invested physically, mentally, emotionally, not to mention financially. We know it's a big day and it's an important day that deserves all of your time and energy. Except I'm going to ask you to reserve a little bit of that time and energy and think about what comes next. So, the marriage is something that we certainly hope is going to last for decades after the wedding day. So let's think a little bit about planning that marriage instead of just planning the wedding day. And that's something that I am famous for telling my couples all of the time. In fact, if you go into our archived videos and do a little bit of a search for Plan Your Marriage, you'll see a video that we did about this, I believe about a year ago with Jody from Something New Officiants. So if you are interested in diving a little bit deeper than we are going to today, certainly search that up and you can watch that one as well. Today, I just wanted to basically hit three concrete ways that you can plan for your marriage while simultaneously planning your wedding. So the first one is to think about the post-wedding blues. And we did a video about this just a few weeks ago. And if you want to, again, search that up in the videos, it's there. We talked specifically about the very normal and common feelings of letdown that a lot of couples face after their wedding day. And so what I would encourage you to do now, if you're at a point in your planning, particularly where you've booked all of your major vendors and you're kind of going, all right, well, what do I do now? Plan the week after your wedding or the month after your wedding. That would be a really great time, just a few days after your wedding. Give yourself some time to come down. If you're going on a honeymoon, awesome. After that honeymoon or after a few days beyond the wedding, think about maybe finding a class to take or starting a new hobby or a new sport with your partner. Maybe you want to devote yourself to learning to cook with your partner, or maybe you want to plan just a mini moon and look forward to that. Something to look forward to past the wedding day is really important in avoiding those post-wedding blues, because they can hit pretty hard, particularly after you've spent those 250 to 500 hours planning that wedding day. And then you're looking around going, okay, well, now what do I do? So that's a really great time to work with your partner on something that you can do together that you're excited about. Maybe it's a house renovation. Maybe it's a major trip that's happening sometime in the future. Maybe it is learning a new skill together, taking some classes, or joining a gym, something like that. So do try to plan for something like that now so that you have that to look forward to after the wedding. The second thing I would encourage you to continue to do is to date each other. And that goes for during the wedding planning and certainly after the wedding as well. It is a struggle. And I can tell you that with multiple full-time jobs and families, it is difficult to date your partner. I am guilty of that all the time. But we're trying really hard, my husband and I, to find more time to hang out together, to do things together, whether that's sitting on the couch and starting a new TV series like we're going to do tonight, or whether that's going out like we did on Friday night to a very divey bar because a really great band was playing and we sat and really enjoyed the band and just had a great time. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be expensive, but try to plan weekly or bi-weekly date nights. Set up that habit now, and then past the day of the wedding, those habits continue into the marriage. You can maintain your connection. You can intentionally sit down and talk about things that are happening in your daily life. You can plan for the future. You can laugh and kick back and enjoy each other's company. So that's something that can get pushed aside when you're focused on wedding planning, and can certainly get pushed aside after the wedding as you are dealing with busy careers or possibly families or moving or renovating. Or so all of those things are very exciting, but don't forget throughout that to make time for your partner and really have that connection through date nights. The third thing I would encourage you to do is to have the hard conversations now. I can't tell you, well, I can tell you, I mean, over the years, I know of a couple of my clients who unfortunately haven't made it. And I can tell you that one of them for sure was because they were focused so much on getting through that wedding day, on the excitement, on the planning, that they didn't really think about what came next. They didn't have those hard conversations about how you're going to handle your finances, how you're going to raise your children if you even want children. Those are the difficult things that a lot of times people don't cover before the wedding, because as our society gets increasingly more secular, not a lot of people are doing premarital counseling. Over my 15 years in business, I can think of only maybe 2 or 3 couples who weren't getting married in a church who actually did premarital counseling, and they found an actual counselor, social worker who specialized in that. And I mentioned Jody Hall from Something New Officiant. She actually has a premarital course that you might want to look into if you're interested in getting some guidance through these difficult, challenging conversations. If you haven't tackled those issues head on, you're going to find during your marriage, it's very difficult to navigate through those situations. So talk about kids, talk about money, talk about how much involvement your in-laws are going to have, talk about how you feel about Christmas morning. Do you want to be at your house? Do you want to be at the in-laws' house? Talk about how you're going to handle it when you fight, because invariably you will fight, and you need to talk about the strategy. Are you going to go to bed angry? Is there going to be a specific place? And I love this. I can't remember which officiant it is, but one of the officiants that I've worked with a couple of times encourages couples to have a designated place in their home where, if there's a fight, one or the other of the couple can place a bouquet of flowers. And that's a wordless way to say, I love you. And I know that we're fighting, but I still love you. So things like that are important to discuss before the wedding day. I am certainly no expert. I'm not a social worker or a counselor. If I had more time, I would certainly go back to school for that. I wish I could pause life sometimes because I feel like I am often in the position of being a counselor and I really just don't know what I'm doing in that venue. But I can tell you that those are the conversations that you need to have now to set yourself up for a solid marriage. And this is potentially the only business, being in wedding planning, where repeat customers are a bad thing. So I want to see you and your partner live a long and happy married life together. So starting to set yourself up for success where that's concerned now is going to serve you very, very well in the future. So don't forget to plan something exciting for the few days or weeks or months past the wedding to avoid the post-wedding blues. Continue to date each other. And if you're looking for some ideas on that, we actually have 2 blog posts on our blog about that, unmistakably.you.com/blog. And don't forget to have those hard conversations. Sometimes they're tough, but pour a glass of wine, sit down, and just dive in. Tackle it head on, and you will definitely thank yourself in the future. So don't forget to join me here next week as we continue our stress-free or our self-care September series. And I will see you next Sunday at 1. Have a great week.